The shuttle door hissed open, and Cal Rayner stepped onto the shining platform of Zalari Prime's high embassy dock. He was a young human diplomat, not very tall, not too strong, but calm, careful, and smart. It was his first time on an alien world, and he was nervous. The air smelled like sweet metal and strange flowers. Alien lights danced on the smooth white walls. Every surface shimmered like glass. The station didn't feel like a place. It felt like a dream. A group of tall, elegant aliens stood in formation. Their skin was pale with a faint silver glow, and their eyes glimmered like soft stars. These were the Zalari, known across the galaxy for being graceful, wise, and very strict about tradition. Cal adjusted his collar and took a deep breath. He was here to represent Earth in a peace exchange. No war, no trade, just words, just trust. That's what they told him, but no one warned him about her. Before he could even step forward, one of the aliens broke from the line. A woman. She was taller than Cal by a head, her silver hair flowing down her back like liquid silk. She wore a skin-tight ceremonial robe, decorated with glowing threads. Her face was calm, but her glowing purple eyes locked on Cal like a predator seeing prey. Cal froze. She didn't stop walking. In fact, she rushed. Wait, he started to say, but before another word left his mouth, she stood before him, grabbed both sides of his face with her long fingers, and kissed him full on the mouth. Her tongue slid into his mouth gently and held there for a moment that felt like forever. Cal's heart almost stopped. His eyes widened. He didn't move. He didn't breathe. His brain screamed, "What is happening?" Behind her, the other Zalari bowed their heads. The guards raised their arms across their chests in salute. One even smiled. The woman pulled away, slowly. Her breath touched his lips as she whispered, "Now we are properly greeted." Cal stumbled back, coughing. His face turned red. What just happened?" She tilted her head. "Did I offend you?" No, I mean yes. I mean, what kind of greeting was that?" She looked around, confused. "I honored you. You are the chosen envoy. I am the one assigned to host your visit. Is that not proper?" Cal blinked fast. "You kissed me." "With your tongue." The woman nodded. "Yes, it is how my kind say, I trust you." More aliens stepped forward. A Zalari male in gold armor cleared his throat and bowed. "Forgive my intrusion, Envoy Cal. I am Highguard Lorak. You have just been greeted by Princess Soraya, daughter of the High Empress. It is a great honor." Cal's mind was spinning. Princess? He'd been tongue-kissed by an alien princess? "I didn't." "No," he said weakly. Lorak raised an eyebrow. "You accepted her greeting. I didn't know what it meant." "It doesn't change what it is," Lorak said, with a low voice. Cal looked at Soraya. She watched him closely, her eyes unreadable. Was she angry, amused, disappointed? I'm sorry if I did something wrong," Cal muttered. "You didn't," Soraya said. "You did something very right." Cal didn't know how to respond. Behind him, his own translator robot beeped softly and whispered in his ear. Warning. According to Zalari tradition, a greeting kiss between a host and guest of high status, if accepted, is a binding signal of mutual connection. In historical cases, it has led to partnership, alliance, or even courtship. "Wait, what?" Cal hissed to the bot. "Courtship? I just arrived." "I am merely stating protocol," the bot replied. Soraya took a step forward. "You seem overwhelmed. Would you like to rest?" Cal nodded slowly. "Yes, that would be helpful." She turned gracefully and led him through a set of tall crystal doors. As they walked, alien attendants whispered. Some smiled, others looked shocked. Cal felt like he was being marched to a wedding, a trial, or both. He kept his voice low. "I didn't mean anything by the kiss. I didn't know it was part of your culture." Soraya didn't look back. And now you do. Before he could answer, they reached a large hall where another Zalari stood waiting. This one wore a crown of light and dark robes that shimmered. Like the stars, the figure stepped forward. I am Elder Virox, keeper of the royal customs. I must inform you, envoy. You have violated no laws. But by receiving the first greeting from our princess, in public, and without rejection, you have triggered an ancient agreement. Cal's heart skipped a beat. What agreement? The elder's eyes glowed. You may have just begun the ritual of union. Cal didn't sleep that night. He stared at the glowing ceiling of his alien guest room, his heart pounding like it was still in that first moment when she kissed him. The bed was soft. The air was calm, but his thoughts were chaos. He replayed everything again and again. The alien princess, that greeting, the crowd. The elder's voice saying, "Ritual of union." It sounded like something out of an ancient love story, not a diplomatic mission. Back on Earth, he was trained in over 300 alien customs. He studied peace treaties, language codes, and body postures. Nowhere, absolutely nowhere, did anyone mention tongue kissing as a greeting, and now he might be engaged? Cal sat up. This can't be real, he whispered to himself, but it was. And it was about to get worse. The next morning, the chamber door opened. 2 Zalari guards stood outside, tall and silent. Between them stood Soraya. She looked even more stunning in daylight, wearing a long silver robe that shimmered as she moved. But her face was unreadable. You will walk with me, she said softly. Cal followed without protest. The halls of the embassy were glowing with light from beneath the floors. Floating lanterns hovered above their heads, changing colors gently. Every step felt like he was walking through a holy place. Aliens stared at him from every corner. Some whispered, some bowed. Others simply stood silent with wide, unblinking eyes. Why is everyone looking at me like that? He finally asked. Soraya didn't stop walking. Because you are now marked. Marked for what? For me, she said without turning. Cal nearly tripped. Wait, people think I accepted you? Soraya finally turned to him. You did accept. You didn't pull away. You didn't deny me in front of the court. I didn't know what was happening. In our culture, the greeting is sacred, she said. You do not kiss unless you mean it. I'm human, he said. We don't use our mouths to make treaties. Well, not like that. She paused. Then how do you show trust? We shake hands. Soraya raised an elegant eyebrow. Sounds unhygienic, Cal groaned. Okay, fine, I made a mistake. I didn't mean to offend anyone, but I also didn't mean to start a royal engagement. She stared at him for a long time. Her expression softened just slightly. Then what did you mean? Cal didn't know what to say. Before he could answer, they entered a large open chamber. At its center was a glowing table surrounded by ancient stone chairs. Dozens of Zalari nobles were already seated. On a wide screen, a newsfeed played a repeating video. Princess Soraya kissing Cal. Again and again. Then the video zoomed out, showing Soraya placing her hand gently on Cal's chest, the crowd cheering. A golden symbol flashing over both of them. The words beneath it read, "He has accepted. The human has claimed her." Cal turned pale. You're broadcasting this? A deep voice answered from the far side. The people must know when a sacred bond is formed. It was Elder Virox. His robes shimmered in the same strange patterns as before. This is a mistake, Cal said. I didn't mean to disrespect your culture, but Virox raised a hand. Meaning does not matter. Action does. The nobles nodded. You have 2 choices, Virox continued. You either honor the bond, or you prove your worthiness to break it in the arena of judgment. The what now? Cal asked. Soraya's eyes narrowed. You would reject me publicly? I'm not rejecting you, Cal said. I'm rejecting the idea that one kiss means I belong to someone I just met. A silence fell across the chamber. Then Saraya stood tall, her voice firm. "Then let him face the arena. Let him show us if his heart is stronger than his words." Virax nodded. "It is decided. The human will face the trials." Cal shook his head. "I don't even know what the trials are." "They will begin." "Tomorrow," Saraya said, "you will fight. You will think. You will bleed if needed. And if you survive, we will talk again." Cal stepped back. "This is insane." Saraya walked up close to him, too close. She whispered, "You stepped into my world, human. Now let's see if you can survive it." The arena wasn't what Cal expected. He thought he'd walk into a giant pit, maybe surrounded by spiked walls and a roaring crowd. Instead, the place was beautiful, wide, silver, quiet. A transparent dome covered the ceiling, showing the stars above. Floating lights hovered silently, casting pale blue glows on the polished floor. It didn't look like a place meant for fighting. It looked like a place meant for judgment. 2 guards stood behind Cal as he stepped forward. His heart pounded. His palms were slick. He had never been in a fight before. Back on Earth, he worked with words, not weapons. A deep voice echoed. "In the dome, let the trial begin." The floor beneath Cal lit up with a wide circle. On the other side of the arena, a figure appeared, tall, armored, carrying a curved staff with blinking lights. Cal squinted. The figure wasn't Zalari. Its armor was dull green, marked with scars. A scarred alien warrior from a different world? Why would another species be part of this? A screen appeared above them both. Glowing text read, "Trial 1, Strategy over Strength. Defeat your opponent without killing. No weapons of your own. No translator allowed." Cal's stomach dropped. "Wait! No translator?" His translator bot beeped once, then floated back through a sealed door. The armored alien raised its staff and slammed it against the ground. Cal looked around. He had no weapon, no instructions, no idea what to do. He raised his hands. "Hey, look, I don't want to fight you." The alien charged forward. Cal dodged left, barely, and tripped over his own feet. He hit the floor hard. The crowd, watching behind the transparent walls, stayed silent. The warrior stalked forward. It raised the staff again, not to kill, but to trap. A net sprang from the weapon. Cal rolled just in time. The net slammed into the ground beside him and sparked. He scrambled behind a column and gasped for breath. "Think." "Cal," he whispered, "you're not a fighter, you're a diplomat. Use your head." He peeked around the corner. The alien wasn't chasing, it was waiting, watching. Cal looked up. The lights floating above flickered slightly. An idea sparked in his mind. He dashed forward, waving his arms wildly. The warrior raised its staff, and Cal threw a piece of broken tile at the floating light. It shattered. The arena dimmed for a moment. The warrior hesitated. Cal dropped to the floor and rolled toward the alien's legs. Wrapping his arms around one ankle, the alien lost balance and fell backward with a heavy thud before it could rise. Cal crawled up and snatched the staff, not to attack, but to snap it in half. The crowd gasped. Then Cal stood over the warrior, panting. He threw both pieces of the staff to the ground and stepped back. He raised both hands again, peaceful, silent. The alien looked at him, then slowly sat up. It gave a single nod. Cal bowed in return. A sound echoed through the arena, soft and melodic. Trial 1 passed. The doors slid open behind him. As Cal walked out, sweaty and shaking, he heard whispers from the Zalari crowd. Some were confused. Some were impressed. Others weren't happy. Outside the chamber, Saraya waited. Her face was unreadable. "You could have taken his life," she said coldly. "I didn't come here to take lives," Cal replied. "I came here to build peace." Saraya didn't smile, but her eyes softened, just a little. "You think peace will earn respect?" she asked. I think showing mercy is strength, he said. She turned away. Then tomorrow you face something. Without a mind. Let's see how your peace talks go with that. Cal blinked. What does that mean? But she was already walking away. Later that night, Cal lay on his bed, staring at the ceiling again. His body ached, but his mind raced. He had passed the first trial. Barely. The next might not offer a choice. Suddenly, he heard a rumble. The floor trembled. A guard entered. The princess sends word, he said. Your second trial will begin. At dawn. What's the challenge? Cal asked. The guard looked uneasy. You will face the arena beast. Cal sat up. A beast? You mean an animal? No, the guard said. Not an animal. A bio-mind created for battle and rage. No one has survived it unscathed. And how do I fight it? You don't. The guard said softly. You run or die. Asterisk. The arena was darker this time. The stars above were gone, covered by a thick metal shield. The smooth silver walls were replaced by something rougher, older. Cracks in the ground glowed faintly red, and in the air. Something growled. Cal Rayner stood alone, breath shallow, heartbeat wild. Across the arena stood a sealed gate, thick, black and shaking with each thud that came from behind it. He whispered, You've got to be kidding me. Above the arena, in a high tower, Princess Saraya sat on a floating platform. Her face was calm, but her fingers gripped a glowing orb that pulsed with red light. She wasn't watching this as a princess. She was controlling it as a handler. Voice echoed through the arena. Second trial. Face the beast of Gornash. No weapons, no help, no mercy. Cal had no plan, no translator, no tools, nothing. Then with a roar, the gate burst open. The creature that stepped out was enormous. 4 legs like armored pillars, skin that shifted between scales and mist, and glowing eyes that shimmered. Like fire, its mouth had rows of teeth, and its breath was thick like smoke. But what caught Cal's attention was the sorrow. Even through the fear, even through the heat and terror. He saw it. The beast wasn't angry. It was in pain. The crowd roared from behind the barrier walls, waiting for blood. The beast lunged. Cal dove aside, barely missing a strike that crushed the stone floor beside him. The ground cracked open where the beast's claws landed. He scrambled. Backward, heart racing. He didn't run to fight. He ran to observe. The beast's movements weren't wild. They were controlled. Its eyes flinched each time it struck, like it didn't want to attack. Then Cal looked up, at the floating tower, at Saraya. Her fingers glowed brighter around the orb. No way, he whispered. She's forcing it to fight me. The beast circled him, growling louder, but slower. Cal made a decision. Not to flee, not to hide, but to talk. He stood up, arms wide, chest exposed. I know you don't want to do this, he shouted. The creature paused. Just a second. I can see it in your eyes. You're being controlled, like a puppet. The beast roared, but its claws hit the wall instead of Cal. From the tower, Saraya's eyes narrowed. She pulsed the control orb harder. The beast twitched, screamed, then ran again. Cal closed his eyes and waited. The ground shook, but the blow never came. Instead, the creature stopped in front of him, inches away. Breathing hard, quivering. Cal opened his eyes slowly. He looked into the beast's burning gaze and stepped forward. It's okay, he whispered. I'm not your enemy. The beast let out a long, low growl, then lowered its massive head and gently pressed its forehead to Cal's chest. Gasps echoed through the arena. In the control tower, Saraya stood in disbelief. Cal rested one hand on the beast's snout. It was like touching thunder, energy and sadness trapped in a body. Too big to carry it. You're not a monster, Cal said. You're a prisoner. The lights in the arena shifted. Trial 2 passed, but no one cheered. The doors to the arena opened. Again. Cal turned to the crowd. Silence. Then a slow voice spoke from the elder's booth. In our history, this has never happened. The beast has never spared a challenger. Soraya floated down slowly on her platform, her glowing orb now dark and still. She stepped off and approached Cal directly. How did you stop it? I didn't, Cal said. I just listened. She stared at him. You let the beast live. You risked your life for a creature designed for war. Cal looked up at her. Maybe that's why you're losing peace with other empires. You train everything to fight, even your own people. The silence that followed felt heavy. Seray tilted her head. You speak boldly, human. I speak truth. For a moment, it seemed she might slap him. Instead, she nodded once. Then we'll speak again, in the right of souls. Cal raised an eyebrow. Another trial? She stepped close, her voice low. No, a connection, mind to mind. Heart to heart. You say you understand creatures. Now I want to see if you understand me. Cal Rayner stood at the entrance of the Chamber of Echoes, heart pounding louder than the wind whispering through its strange glass walls. All around him, the ancient symbols of the Zalari glowed faintly, not in sharp colors, but in soft pulses like breath. The room felt alive. At the center stood Princess Soraya, already waiting, already watching. She wore a long flowing gown, woven from some kind of liquid crystal. Her silver skin shimmered under the dim lights, and her glowing eyes locked onto Cal's with something unreadable, not anger, not kindness. Something between curiosity and challenge. This is the place? Cal asked, voice low. Yes, Soraya replied. Here, the rite begins. He stepped forward slowly. And what does the rite of souls actually do? She turned away, walking to a small pedestal at the chamber's center. Upon it rested a dual bond crystal, shaped like two halves of a heart, pulsing with alien light. This, she said, touching it, will link our minds. Not forever, just for a moment. But in that moment, we will see who we truly are, without words. No masks, no hiding. Cal swallowed. Is this a trick? She shook her head. If it were, you would already be mine. The words sent a chill through him. He stepped beside her, and together they placed their palms on the crystal. The glow brightened, and then the room vanished. Cal's eyes were still open, but the chamber was gone. He floated in a strange black void filled with shifting colors, blue memories, red emotions, silver whispers of past fears. He felt a pull, like gravity, but inside his chest. Then suddenly, he was her. He saw through Soraya's eyes, not as a queen or a fighter, but as a child lost and small in a golden palace, watching her mother, the Empress, walk away coldly. You must never show weakness, her mother had said, or they will eat you alive. Pain, pressure, loneliness, nights spent awake, training with guards, smiling before crowds, feeling empty inside. Then, darkness. And another light. Now Cal was himself again, but she was in his mind. Soraya saw his memories. Earth's gray skies. A childhood full of silence, growing up. In an orphan ward. Books instead of hugs. One teacher who said, "You have a good heart, Cal. Don't let the world crush it." She saw him practicing peace talks alone. Eating alone. Getting picked for this mission. Because he had no family, no connections, no one to miss him. Both stood, not in the chamber, but in the open space of each other's lives. There was no sound. But there was truth, and it hurt. Then the bond faded. The lights vanished. The chamber returned. Soraya staggered back from the crystal. Cal caught himself on the floor. Neither spoke for a long time. When Soraya finally stood straight, her voice was quieter than ever. You have pain inside you. So do you, Cal said. She looked away. They taught me that weakness is dangerous, that love is a battlefield. That trust must be earned in blood. Cal nodded. They taught me that no one will fight for you unless you fight for yourself. Saraya turned to face him again. But you chose mercy. You faced a beast and offered kindness. And you controlled it, he said softly. But you let me live. She blinked, surprised. Yes, I did. Another long silence. Then Saraya stepped forward, slowly. The rite was meant to test your truth, but now I think it revealed mine too. Before Cal could speak, she reached out and gently touched his chest. Not a kiss. Not a ceremony, just a hand over his heart. I didn't need to challenge you, she whispered. I needed to understand you. He looked at her hand, then into her glowing eyes. And, what do you understand now? Saraya didn't smile, but her voice carried something soft and fragile, that your world may be flawed. But your kind knows something we forgot long ago, how to feel. Before Cal could answer, the chamber doors exploded open. Guards rushed in, shouting. An old Zalari noble entered behind them, face pale. Your Highness! The Empress is under attack. A foreign ship breached the palace ring. Saraya's eyes widened. Who dares? The guard replied, we don't know, but their technology is human-made. Suspense ending, Saraya turned to Cal, her hand still on his chest. Did you bring war with you, Cal Rayner? And Cal, just as stunned, whispered, no. But someone else from Earth just did. Asterisk red warning lights flashed across the chamber ceiling. Sirens echoed through the ancient walls of the embassy. Zalari guards shouted in their native tongue, rushing through the halls with energy spears ready. Somewhere above, ships moved in low orbit, too close for peace, too quiet for diplomacy. Cal Rayner stood still in the center of the right chamber, stunned. His chest still felt warm where Saraya had touched him, now replaced by a cold knot of fear. I swear, he said, voice firm, I didn't bring anyone. Saraya's eyes searched his, not angry, not afraid, but calculating. I believe you, she said quietly, but belief isn't enough. Not now. A younger Zalari guard rushed in, panting. The ship didn't use a diplomatic code, no. Flags, no clearance. Their weapons are Earth-made. But the ship isn't. Saraya's lips tightened. What do they want? The guard hesitated. We intercepted a message. It was short. And human language. Cal stepped forward. What message? The guard glanced at Saraya, who gave a small nod. Then he spoke the words that made Cal's blood turn to ice. We're here for the traitor. The one who shamed the human race by kneeling to aliens. Cal froze. They're talking about me. Saraya looked at him, sharp. Why would your people call you a traitor? Cal's voice broke slightly. Because I showed mercy. Because I didn't fight the beast. Because I kissed you. Saraya's expression shifted. You think this is about culture? Cal nodded slowly. No, it's about fear. Within minutes, the palace shields activated. A soft blue dome shimmered above the outer walls. Elite guards surrounded Saraya. Cal was escorted through underground tunnels into a secured medical bay. He didn't want rest. He wanted answers. The Earth ship in orbit wasn't military. It was a rogue vessel, old, patched, and armed with illegal weapons. Satellite images showed a human crew. But their signals were jumbled, hostile, fanatical. A new voice appeared on the palace comms. Distorted, but human. We do not bow. We do not blend. And we do not allow traitors to spread infection. Give us the weakling, or we will destroy your sky. Saraya watched the message in silence. Then she turned to Cal. What infection are they talking about? He sighed. Kindness, peace, understanding. These people, they believe Earth should conquer, not compromise. And they would attack a royal palace to kill one man, Cal nodded. To send a message. Saraya's jaw clenched. Then let's Send one back. She led Cal into the palace armory. Rows of ancient Zalari weapons glowed with old power, staffs, pulse swords, sonic bows. But Cal ignored them all. Instead, he walked to a side cabinet marked in faded Terran script, Medical Emergency, Level Red. He opened it. Inside were bioscanners, ancient field kits, blood filters, and one thing that caught his eye, a vial of gray serum labeled in both Earth and Zalari code, Emergency DNA, Stabilizer, Cross-species use only. He picked it up. What is that? Soraya asked. Cal turned. It's how I'm going to save your life and stop the attack. Soraya narrowed her eyes. Explain. He held the vial up. You remember the Rite of Souls? You connected to me, and I to you. Our minds touched. But our cells didn't. If they had, we'd both be sick right now. Her eyes widened slightly. Cal continued. Your people have defenses. But if this rogue crew gets even a sample of our shared data, they'll claim we've been infected by human genes. They'll call it proof of alien takeover. You think they'll broadcast it? He nodded. It's not about killing me anymore. It's about turning us into a symbol. She stepped back. And the serum? It'll stabilize your immune system and burn any shared signals between us. It'll erase all proof of the mind link. They won't have a weapon anymore. She was quiet for a long moment. It will hurt? He nodded. Both of us. Without speaking, she reached for the injector and jammed it into her own shoulder. A second one followed, into Cal's neck. He gasped as cold fire tore through his veins. His heart pounded wildly. Lights blurred. Soraya staggered, grabbing a wall for support. For one terrible moment, everything went dark. Then, silence. When they woke, both were on the floor. The med scanners above flashed green. You okay? Cal rasped. Seray and nodded slowly. It's done. But before they could move, a blast shook the building. They've breached the outer ring. Someone shouted through the comms. Ship descending, weapons armed. Soraya stood tall, despite the pain. We end this now. She turned to Cal. Will you face your people, even if they aim to kill you? He met her eyes. Only if you stand beside me. Smoke drifted into the throne room like dark silk. The outer doors lay in ruins. Sparks jumped from broken walls. Zalari guards stood in formation, weapons raised, facing the group of human intruders now stepping into sacred ground. At their front walked a tall man in black combat armor, face hard, eyes burning with pride and fury. He held a plasma rifle over one shoulder like it was nothing. You're a long way from home, Raynor, he said coldly, and way out of line. Cal didn't move. Put the weapon down, Commander Halle. This is a diplomatic station. This, Halle said, gesturing around, is a disease. And you're patient zero. Behind Cal stood Soraya, silent, composed, regal, even in danger. Her eyes glowed softly, her presence still commanding despite the destruction around her. You dare speak of disease, she said, yet you barge into our peace halls with weapons drawn. Halle smirked. You kissed a human. That's not diplomacy. That's corruption. Cal stepped forward. We didn't start a war, Halle. You did, the moment you decided peace was weakness. Earth doesn't kneel to aliens, Halle snapped. I didn't kneel, Cal said, voice calm but sharp. I stood beside someone different from me. That's not surrender. That's strength. The room fell into tense silence. Then Halle raised his rifle. I won't let you poison our bloodline, Raynor. One shot, and this farce ends. Soraya stepped between them. Halle hesitated, just a second. Move, alien, he growled. No, she said. If you shoot, it will be the end of peace, and maybe Earth itself. The rifle shook slightly in his hand. Cal didn't flinch. You know what we should have been teaching back home, Halle. Empathy. Courage that doesn't come from violence. You think you're the hero, but you're just another man too scared to understand something new. Hale's finger twitched on the trigger. Suddenly, behind him, a flash of light. Zalari guards rushed forward from hidden alcoves. In a blink, Hale and his rogue team were surrounded, weapons pulled from their hands. He shouted, "No! You'll regret this." A guard jabbed a stun rod into his side. He fell, shaking. The throne room dimmed, then glowed softly again. Peace returned. Slowly. Cal looked at Soraya, breathing hard. She looked at him. "You didn't run. Even when your own kind turned against you." "I couldn't," he said. "Not when someone finally saw who I really was." She stepped closer. "And who are you, Cal Rayner?" He smiled, tired but proud. "Human, just human." Later that night, beneath the open stars of the Zalari sky dome, the council gathered. Soraya stood before the assembly, wearing the ceremonial robes of a leader. She didn't speak first. Cal did. "I came here for peace. I was misunderstood, accused, and nearly killed by strangers and my own people. But through all of it, one truth stayed clear. We don't need to be alike to be allies." He looked around. Some nodded. Some still doubted. Then Soraya stepped forward and reached for his hand. Gasps echoed through the council. Even touching hands in Zalari culture was deeply intimate, a promise of bond. Soraya said, "This human taught me that fear is not strength, that mercy is not weakness, that understanding takes more courage than war." She turned to Cal. And then, in front of the entire Zalari council, she leaned in and kissed him, slowly, deeply. Their tongues met, not out of tradition, but choice. The chamber filled with light. All stood silent. Then, one by one, council rose, not to protest, but to bow. The next day, the galaxy watched as two leaders, one alien, one human, stood together on every screen. Cal spoke simply. "To those who see peace as betrayal, know this: we are stronger, not weaker, when we build bridges instead of walls." Soraya added, "We kiss to greet. We kiss to bond. Now we kiss to promise. No more fear." The old human factions were silenced. The rogue crew disbanded, arrested, or exiled. The Earth Council issued an apology and opened its first joint academy on Zalari Prime, named after the day of the bond. Cal Rayner, once a forgotten diplomat, was now a living symbol of change, of courage, of connection. And Princess Soraya? She became empress not by blood, but by choice, and by the strength of a partner who stood with her when everyone else ran. They walked together, side by side, never rulers and servants, never conquerors and subjects, just equals, as Cal. And Soraya stepped into a glowing chamber for a private ceremony. A Zalari child approached with a question. "Is it true, human, that your people touch hands instead of kiss?" Cal laughed. "Sometimes we do both." Soraya smiled. "That's why he's so dangerous. He never follows just one tradition." The child giggled and ran off. Cal leaned close and whispered, "What now, Your Majesty?" She whispered back, "Now we rewrite the galaxy."